Mark, Till, welcome to Voices in Transformation. I'm going to jump straight in. Mark, this is a question for you. What do you think is truly different about this new wave of AI agents, and especially really in the logistics, visibility, and responsiveness context?
Yeah, hi. Great question. So I think for us, we at NTT Data, we've been working with process automation integration projects for many years around SAP and supply chain, but we're really seeing greater scale, I suppose. Now we've got agents who can perform multiple tasks and make use of multiple tools across that technology stack. We're seeing conventional automation projects. A great example might be document automation, things like processing goods receipts into the warehouse or maybe orders from customers, um, just become a much more seamless execution now. We've actually got a single agentic system that can manage maybe an EDIFACT file. The same system can manage a purchase order document to take the same order. That document might have the incorrect information in it, and we can go and match that back to our product catalog probabilistically to keep it processing through the flow. So I think we're just seeing much more scalability in the solutions we're putting in, which used to be much more sort of one shot than human exception path. Now we're seeing maybe multiple tools knitted together into a single business partnering solution, like the example I mentioned. So it's that makes us excited at the moment. And I think we're only at the beginning.
And Till, I guess the question for you is how can companies move from, just seeing disruptions to using these AI agents that they can deploy to sense, decide, and act autonomously across logistics networks?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting field, right? If you look at logistics visibility, the last 3 to 4 years, almost all of our customers implemented visibility, a visibility layer and a data layer. And I think the unique thing here is that we now suddenly have that representation of the physical world in the digital world, which we never had before, which is the foundation for any AI that sits on top. Then usually the next step from visibility is that customers deploy something we call a logistics situation room, that they see everything that's currently in motion on a map and they can start reacting and also blend the data with risk data, for example. And then I think the next step is then where AI comes in. That's where you have the automated routing and scheduling. So if you see something is out of control, you need to react. And then the agent can sense that and can start reacting and trigger transportation management to reroute and to reschedule. And then I think the last step is really in the future that you have an autonomous agent that constantly looks at your supply chain, at everything that's currently moving, and then starts alerting and then starts automatically reacting to bring it back into control.
It could cover quite a lot. Mark, what design principles guide your approach to building AI agents, to process streaming data, learn continuously, and scale across multi-enterprise networks?
Yeah, big question. I think on the one hand, the opportunity we've got in front of us with this technology is really exciting. But on the other hand, it can be daunting because it feels like we might be building the Starship Enterprise, the thing that will do everything. But I think what we're finding more and more is you can just put another brick in the wall with these agentic systems, right? So if you do have dynamic demand planning in your business to try and make sure you've got the right raw materials to keep your production line going and not create lots of waste or excess inventory, that is also a tool that can be picked up by an agent later on. And when we think about multi-enterprise agentic systems, we kind of already can see the blueprint starting to emerge of if you do have a fully automated business partner over here who can ingest order data, maybe process purchase orders or whatever else it is automatically and agentically. And over here, we do have a dynamic demand planning algorithm that might place different orders based on different demand in their business. Well, those two things are already semi-automated, right? So adding in an extra layer on top that makes that an autonomous system doesn't seem far-fetched. So I suppose what I'm saying is let's break the problem down into smaller systems. And when we do that, we bring a few different methodologies to bear. But one really important principle is human-centeredness. So quite often we're thinking about process cockpits or intelligence dashboarding or ways to give that sense of control to the human capital in your business. So it is a hybrid workforce. And that is hugely important in all the systems we're building at the moment.
And until what value do you think can customers expect to unlock by deploying AI agents in logistic visibility solutions?
Yeah, I think there's three different areas of value creation. The first one is customers with their customers, it's increased customer satisfaction because you can proactively inform your clients if something is late, and you can tell them exactly when things are coming, right? So on time in full is a big topic here, and that you just get informed proactively and not just after the fact. The second thing I think is more on the efficiency side, right? That because you have more information about, where are my goods, what do I need to do, what do I need to expedite? Hopefully, because you have that, that foresight and you know when things going to happen, you don't have to expedite shipments and create that additional cost. And then the third thing I think is in general resiliency and agility, because you can react faster and solve the problems before they really, hit the customer in the end.
Okay, so here we are at the end of 2025, going into 2026. Mark, without necessarily committing yourself to a crystal ball moment, what predictions do you think you have for 2026?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another acceleration of the journey, isn't it? And I think the prevalence of things like MCP as a protocol for multi-agent systems will start to become more real. I think if we combine that with innovations like SAP's knowledge graph, and I just take examples of sort of where's my order is a really classic use case we come across with customers. That's a much richer picture where you might be able to immediately infer the order is subject to a production order, which is subject to a supplier and a supplier contract, and I have an agent with that supplier who can go and execute something. Suddenly we're into a much richer use case for where's my order. So I think in those sort of functional areas of AI, we're going to see richer solutions. But then I think that MCP layer and getting to multi-agent systems and even multi-enterprise systems is going to push us beyond just security, privacy, safety by design into thinking about things like governance at runtime and supervisor models and things like that. So that might be quite a technological answer, but I think there's a few key innovations of which SAP are releasing some fantastic products right now, which are probably still in the laboratory for most businesses. But I think as we go forward over the next 12, 18 months, we'll start to see some real applications of those, and we're excited to get going with it.
Till, briefly, what's your prediction for 2026?
Yeah, I think I can build on what Mark basically said, right? So what we see is that there is AI assistants that in the future manage multiple AI agents, that the agents interact with each other and the assistant oversees this, right? So the logistics assistant, for example, as a persona. And then the second thing, looking beyond software, I think the other big topic is physical AI in logistics, right? When we think robotics and what we currently see in the warehouse, how they can be trained much better and how they can become productive much better. I think that's the second big wave that we see in AI here.
Both of you, thank you for joining Voices in Transformation.
Thank you.